I don't. Hey.
The offer of Hermes Trismegistos. That's Krazel's document.
pofádba, te rohadék! Imádkozz, bolond! Ez gyors lesz!
Here you are, you bastard. Come on, then. Let's sort this out.
I'm sure we can sort this out. I have that document from the rat house for you.
Excellent. I knew I could count on you.
I took
My fifth.
That doesn't sound...
Did you find now? Good.
What now? Did you hear me?
Sorry. I owe you. And
Don't tell me...
don't worry.
Are you yanking...
Not at all. But besides,
Enough. Suppose this isn't any...
devilish. It's hot and not.
Tell me more about...
I wouldn't be now. I want
A gullet.
Give me make stop. Just carry. He would.
My word.
So it's just I've all
So a gullet.
exactly.
And what about the good...
You already. But
I'm overwhelmed. I suppose... And then I'll just...
I added.
What's this next?
I need to find a saltpeter pit.
Never a wasted word, eh, Crazel?
Short and to the point. That's my credo.
And how long will it take before you tell me what a saltpeter pit is?
A saltpeter pit is a pit in which saltpeter is formed.
This has something to do with that alchemy of yours, eh? I don't know much about that stuff.
Nitra is saltpeter. White crystals similar to salt.
And what needs salting here in the mill? Or is it supposed to be some peculiar Crazel wedding gift for a young semi?
Nothing of the sort. The Kabbalistic doctrine speaks of saltpeter as a vessel for the inexhaustible essence of life. Those white crystals are said to contain the very essence of being. That's precisely what we need to give life to our golem. Thanks to the ingredients from Hermes Trismegistos, his feet will never get tired, and his fists will have the power to smash rocks. But saltpeter is the most important thing. Saltpeter will be the golem's heart.
So you're serious about this golem? And are you certain it'll work out?
Certainly. Otherwise, I wouldn't even try.
How much saltpeter will it take to bring to life such a big creature?
A lot. That's why I want you to find me a decent saltpeter pit. Do you understand?
I was hoping I'd learn something useful from you. But instead, you're making me wander around the countryside looking for some pit.
Well, you never know when an experience like that might come in handy.
All right then. I'll look around for that saltpeter pit of yours. I just hope you know where to look. That you can point me in the right direction. And also that you'll get me into that wedding as a reward.
Yes, yes, and yes. Bonnie has a lead. She's a damned handy girl to have around. She can do anything you ask of her. But for you, the most important thing is that she knows how to look for niter, or saltpeter if you prefer.
So this Bonnie is some kind of witch who's in on this golem stuff.
Bonnie is someone I trust without question, and you should too. Not only will she teach you how to find saltpeter, but also how to differentiate it from common salt. The main difference is it has kind of cooling taste.
Hold your horses. You want me to taste that nasty stuff?
If you don't taste it, you could confuse it with some nasty rot. You don't want that.
Damn right.
Don't be such a lily liver, Henry. If Bonnie can taste saltpeter, so can you. She'll tell you the rest herself. You'll find her in the lair. That's a secret storage space I have here just by the pond. Only my best people can get in.
How can I get to this lair?
There's a bridge over the mill stream towards the southwest. Take the path to the left, just behind it along the pond. From that path, you turn right, uphill, between the rocks, and you'll find yourself right in front of the lair. You can't miss it. Oh, and so I don't forget. You could pick some herbs along the way to see Bonnie. It would make her very happy. She's just been through some tough times. Her dog died, and on top of that, she has to spend time with that blabbermouth, Zinnik. On the other hand, Zinnik might be holding his tongue for a while after his encounter with the Troskowitz stocks.
Well, I haven't spoken to Zinnek yet, so at least we'll get to know each other.
Right along. So you're back as soon as possible.
To the lair.
Till we meet again, Henry.
Go! Oh. What was that noise? Woodcutters?
God be with you.
I'm Henry, Miller Crazel's new apprentice. He sent me to search for a niter pit, and said you might be able to help me with that.
Of course I will. I'm Bonnie. Nice to meet you.
Bonnie? It's not a name I hear often.
It's not the name I was baptized with. In our craft, it ain't a good idea to tell people your real name. That's why we use nicknames. What should we call you?
Henry's fine.
Well, that's not very creative. You know what? I'll come up with a nickname for you myself when I get to know you better. Did you bring me something from the mill?
Actually, Crazel said you'd appreciate some herbs.
He's right there. Do you have some for me?
I'm sorry. I've got nothing for you.
I reckon I'll just have to scrape together the ingredients for that magic ritual myself.
What kind of magic ritual?
The kind where Zenek finally gets some sense into his head and stops making stupid beginner's mistakes. Just so you know, that mess with the author of Hermes Trismegistos would never have happened to me. Not me. While we're on the subject of rituals, did Crazel tell you about the golem?
He did.
And what do you think of it?
I'm curious to see what a golem made of flour will look like, but I'm mostly curious to see if Crazel will really be able to breathe life into it with the help of saltpeter.
I'm more worried that as soon as it comes to life, it'll slay us all with one blow. So, if by some chance it looks like something's going wrong, you won't see my heels for dust. And I suggest you do the same. But that's enough of that. We're not going to stand here talking about flower golems when we've barely just met. I'd like to chat with you too, Henry. Get to know you a bit. But if you're in a hurry to find Crazel's saltpeter, I won't keep you.
I need to know how it is with that saltpeter. Nothing else.
Whatever you say. Before you came, and before Zenek fucked up with the manuscript, we collected saltpeter all over the place, mainly in sties. It has to be scraped from the walls. Horrible work, time-consuming and annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. We also looked in a few chests, just in case. You know. Anyhow, now all the sties in the region are scraped clean and we're sitting pretty on a nice barrel of saltpeter.
Barrel is quite a lot.
For the whole Trotsky region, aye. Unfortunately, Crazel said we need at least 6 times as much.
6 times? Will one saltpeter pit be enough?
I reckon so. There should be as much as Crazel needs for his masterwork. If you're looking for it, you ought to know how saltpeter forms. Do you have any idea?
No, I don't. And Crazel, of course, didn't tell me shit.
Don't forget that saltpeter crystals are formed in places where something is rotting. It can be shit or carcasses. Well, a saltpeter pit is actually nothing more than a mass grave. The best natural saltpeter maker.
Crazel said saltpeter is a vessel for life energy. I get it that it's left over from dead bodies, but how do you get it from shit?
God's mysterious ways. You know how it is.
And he also wanted me to taste it. That's nonsense, though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it isn't. Otherwise, you won't know if it's saltpeter or some other shit. It feels kind of cold on the tongue.
Jesus. And you know where to look for such a pit full of carcasses, do you?
Not exactly, but I have an idea. Times are evil and there's plenty of corpses. A person who's digging holes and throwing dead bodies into them and doesn't even know he's got a a saltpeter mine.
You mean a knacker?
Exactly. And the one we have here in the region is also the gravedigger.
Oh, I haven't met him yet. Where can I find him?
The cemetery is beyond Troskovitz, towards the Apollonia rocks.
So I'm in for a walk to the cemetery.
Seems like it. Too bad you couldn't have walked around the county with us before. It was fun, and pretty useful experience. I learned a lot during that time, and I won't keep it to myself. I'd be happy to teach you something, if you want.
I'll keep that in mind.
That old gravedigger will be suspicious, so I'd bring him some kind of offering. He's always dragging those carcasses, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a slab of fresh meat from Troskovitz Butcher.
Good idea.
He lives a short way from the cemetery, so at least the meat won't go bad on the way. Lots of luck, Henry. See you later, my friend.